The crisis, the galaxy was in chaos. For years, different alien species had fought a relentless war, and now it seemed like there was no end in sight. The once vibrant and peaceful galaxy had turned into a battlefield, and hope was running out. Planets were destroyed, civilizations were crumbling, and the energy needed to keep the war machines running was scarce. In the midst of this turmoil, the Galactic Council gathered for an emergency meeting. The council was made up of representatives from many different alien races. They sat around a large, round table in a high-tech room, their faces serious and tired. The mood was heavy with despair. "We can't continue like this," said a tall, green-skinned alien named Zorik. His voice was deep and full of worry. "We're losing ground every day. Our resources are nearly depleted." Another council member, a small, blue-skinned alien named Luma, spoke up. "Our people are suffering. The front lines are falling apart, and morale is at an all-time low. We need a new plan." The room fell silent as the council members pondered their options. They had tried everything, but nothing seemed to make a difference. Their last hope seemed to be a risky and desperate move. "We have one option left," Zorik finally said, breaking the silence. "It's a long shot, but it might be our only chance." Luma looked up with curiosity. "What are you suggesting?" Zorik took a deep breath. "We need to wake up the humans." There were gasps around the table. The humans had been in cryo-sleep for centuries, frozen in time to preserve them for a future that now seemed distant. They were legendary warriors from the past, known for their bravery and skill. The idea of awakening them was both exciting and frightening. Luma's eyes widened. "The humans? Are you sure they will help us? They were powerful once, but what if they don't fit in with our current technology and tactics?" Zorik nodded. "We don't have a choice. They have the experience and the determination that we need right now. Their past victories and their legendary status might be just what we need to turn the tide." The council members exchanged looks of concern and hope. The decision to wake up the humans was not one they made lightly. It would be a huge gamble, but it was the only option left. In a remote, heavily guarded cryo facility, the humans were in deep sleep, waiting for a time when they might be needed. The facility was a marvel of advanced technology, with cryopods neatly lined up in rows. Each pod was a small, shiny capsule that held a sleeping human, their bodies preserved for a future they knew nothing about. A team of scientists and engineers worked frantically to prepare for the awakening process. The facility buzzed with activity as they activated the cryopods and checked the systems. The process was delicate and required precision. Any mistake could be disastrous. "We're almost ready," said Dr. Oren, the head scientist, as he adjusted the controls on a large console. "Make sure everything is perfect. We can't afford any errors." The team nodded, their faces tense with anticipation. They knew how important this mission was and felt the weight of responsibility on their shoulders. If they succeeded, it could mean the salvation of the galaxy. If they failed, it could be the end. The activation sequence began, and one by one the cryopods started to open. The humans inside stirred, waking from their long sleep. Their bodies slowly adjusted to the warmth and movement after being frozen for so many years. As the first humans stepped out of their pod, they looked around in confusion. The world they had known was gone, replaced by strange sights and sounds. They were greeted by the sight of aliens, unfamiliar and intimidating, and the realization that they were in a different time and place. The humans were given time to adjust and recover from their long sleep. They were briefed on the current situation and the reasons for their awakening. The council explained the desperate state of the galaxy and the need for their unique skills and experience. The humans listened carefully, their expressions a mix of shock and determination. They were aware of their legendary status and the expectations that came with it. They knew that their actions would be crucial in the battles to come. As they prepared to join the fight, the humans faced many challenges. They had to learn about new technologies, adapt to different tactics, and understand the current state of the war. It was a steep learning curve, but their resilience and resourcefulness shone through. The galaxy watched with bated breath as the humans began their journey. The hope that had been dwindling started to flicker again. The arrival of the humans was a beacon of hope, a sign that things might change for the better. The war was far from over, and many battles still lay ahead. But with the humans now awake and ready to fight, there was a renewed sense of hope and determination. The galaxy had a chance, and it was all thanks to the brave decision to awaken the legendary humans from cryo sleep. Awakening the heroes, the cryo facility was quiet and still, a stark contrast to the chaos outside. Inside the facility, a small team of scientists and engineers moved with purpose. They were about to perform one of the most critical tasks of their careers, awakening the humans from cryo sleep. Dr. Orrin, the lead scientist, watched closely as the first cryopod's lights flickered on. The pod, a sleek silver capsule, began to hum softly as it powered up. A soft hiss filled the room as the pod's lid slowly slid open, revealing a human inside. The human, a soldier named Jack, stirred as warmth returned to his body after centuries of cold. Jack blinked groggily, trying to make sense of his surroundings. The room was filled with strange, bright lights and unfamiliar faces. He looked around in confusion, his mind struggling to adjust. Dr. Orrin and his team approached carefully, wearing reassuring smiles. "Welcome back," Dr. Orrin said gently. "You're awake now. We've brought you into a different time and a different place." Jack's eyes widened as he took in the sight of the aliens standing before him. They were unlike any beings he had ever seen, with strange colors and shapes. His heart raced as he tried to grasp what was happening. "We're here to help," Dr. Orrin continued, sensing Jack's confusion. "The galaxy is in a dire situation and we need your help. You and the others who are waking up are our last hope." As Jack began to come to terms with his new reality, the facility's alarms sounded. The next cryopod was ready to open. One by one, the other humans were awakened. Each time a pod opened, the process was the same: confusion, shock, and then the slow realization of their situation. Another human, Sarah, stepped out of her pod and immediately felt the cool air of the facility. She looked around with a mixture of awe and fear. Her eyes met those of the aliens, who tried to offer comforting smiles. "What's going on?" Sarah asked, her voice trembling. "Where are we?" Dr. Orrin explained as calmly as he could. "You're in a galaxy at war. Your people were put into cryo sleep to preserve them for a time when they might be needed. That time is now. We need your help to fight this war and save the galaxy." Sarah and the others listened intently, absorbing the gravity of the situation. The briefing continued, detailing the current state of the galaxy, the enemy forces, and the dire need for their unique skills. As the humans received their briefings, they were introduced to their new surroundings. They saw the advanced technology that now filled the facility, technology that was far beyond what they had known. They were given time to adjust and were provided with basic training to help them understand the new equipment and tactics. The humans struggled at first, finding it difficult to adapt to the new technology and methods. Their previous training and experience were still valuable, but they had to learn how to use it in a new context. It was a steep learning curve, but they were determined to succeed. Meanwhile, the Galactic Council watched with hope and anxiety. The humans were their last hope, and they needed to see quick results. The council members knew that the success of this mission would depend on how well the humans could adapt to their new role. Jack and Sarah, along with the other awakened humans, spent the next few days getting up to speed. They learned about the different alien species, their technologies, and their battle strategies. The council provided them with everything they needed, including new uniforms and equipment designed for their new roles. The first few training sessions were intense. The humans had to master advanced weapons and tactics that were unfamiliar to them. They worked hard, often staying late into the night to practice and improve. Despite their initial struggles, their determination and resilience began to shine through. One evening, after a particularly grueling training session, Jack and Sarah sat together, trying to catch their breath. They talked about their old lives, their memories, and their hopes for the future. It was a moment of camaraderie and support, and it helped them bond as a team. "We've come a long way," Jack said, his voice filled with determination. "We've got a chance to make a difference. We just need to keep pushing." Sarah nodded in agreement. "We've been given a second chance, and we can't waste it. We have to do everything we can to help." The days turned into weeks, and the humans began to show promising results. They were becoming more proficient with the new technology and tactics. Their unique skills and experiences started to blend with the advanced methods of their new allies. The Council's hope grew stronger with each passing day. The humans were starting to fit into their new roles, and their presence was beginning to make a difference. The once bleak outlook was now starting to show signs of improvement. As the humans continued to adapt and train, they knew that their journey was just beginning. They faced an uphill battle, but they were ready to face it head-on. Their awakening marked the start of a new chapter, one that would determine the fate of the galaxy. With each step they took, the humans grew more confident and prepared. They were no longer just legends from the past. They were the key to the galaxy's future. The fight was far from over, but with the humans now awake and ready, there was a renewed sense of hope. Getting ready, the Cryo facility was now a bustling hub of activity. The once quiet rooms were filled with the sounds of training and preparation. The humans, now awake and adjusting to their new reality, were diving into the intense process of getting ready for battle. Jack and Sarah, along with the other humans, were at the heart of this transformation. They had been briefed about the war and their role, but now they needed to put their knowledge into action. Each day brought new challenges and lessons as they prepared to face the enemy. In the training area, the humans were introduced to advanced weapons and technology. The equipment was far beyond anything they had ever seen. Laser rifles, energy shields, and high-tech combat suits were all part of their new arsenal. The training sessions were rigorous and demanding. Dr. Oren led the training, focusing on teaching the humans how to use the new equipment. He demonstrated the functions of each weapon and piece of technology, explaining their advantages and limitations. The humans listened carefully, absorbing every detail. "Remember," Dr. Oren said, holding up a sleek silver rifle, "this weapon is more than just a tool. It's an extension of yourself. Learn its functions, understand its power, and use it wisely." The humans practiced with the weapons, trying to get used to their weight and controls. At first it was awkward. The recoil of the laser rifles felt strange, and the energy shields were tricky to handle. But with each passing day, they became more proficient. They learned to aim accurately, move quickly, and react swiftly to any threat. In addition to physical training, the humans also underwent strategic simulations. The simulations were designed to mimic real battle scenarios, allowing them to test their tactics and decision-making skills in a controlled environment. Sarah, who had been a skilled strategist in her past life, quickly adapted to this aspect of the training. She took on the role of a team leader in the simulations, guiding her teammates through complex scenarios. Her quick thinking and sharp instincts helped her team navigate through simulated battles successfully. Jack, on the other hand, focused on honing his combat skills. He was a natural fighter, and his training sessions were intense. He practiced hand-to-hand combat, learned to use new types of melee weapons, and trained in close-quarters tactics. His strength and agility made him an asset in both training and future battles. As they trained, the humans also had to get used to their new surroundings. The Cryo facility had been a safe haven, but now they had to familiarize themselves with the galaxy's diverse and sometimes dangerous environments. They took part in field exercises that exposed them to different terrains and conditions. One exercise involved navigating a harsh, rocky landscape while under simulated attack. The humans had to use their new equipment and work as a team to overcome obstacles and reach their objective. The exercise was grueling but essential for building their confidence and teamwork. The team's progress was closely monitored by the Galactic Council. The council members were eager to see the results of the humans' training. They knew that the success of the mission depended on how well the humans could adapt and integrate into the ongoing war. Despite the challenging training, the humans remained focused and determined. They knew that their skills and preparation were critical to the success of the mission. Each day, they pushed themselves to improve, driven by the knowledge that the galaxy's future was at stake. The facility also provided them with time to rest and recuperate. In the evenings, the humans gathered in a common area to share their experiences and bond as a team. These moments of relaxation were important for building trust and camaraderie among them. One evening, as they gathered for a meal, Jack and Sarah talked about their experiences. They shared stories of their past lives and their hopes for the future. Their conversations helped them understand each other better and strengthened their resolve. "I never thought I'd be fighting in a war like this," Jack said, looking around at his teammates. "But now that we're here, we have to give it everything we've got." Sarah nodded in agreement. "We've been given a chance to make a real difference. Let's make sure we use it to its fullest." The humans' preparation continued to evolve. They participated in joint drills with alien forces, learning to work together as a unified team. The collaboration was sometimes challenging, as different species had their own ways of doing things. But over time, the humans and their allies began to synchronize their efforts. As the days passed, the humans became more confident in their roles. They had transformed from bewildered newcomers into skilled and capable warriors. Their training had prepared them for the battles ahead, and they were ready to face whatever challenges lay in their path. The time for action was drawing near. The Galactic Council, observing the humans' progress, began to make plans for their deployment. The Council knew that the humans were not just a backup plan, but a crucial part of the strategy to turn the tide of the war. With each passing day, the humans grew stronger and more prepared. Their journey from cryo sleep to becoming key players in the galaxy's fight for survival was almost complete. They had faced countless challenges and overcome many obstacles, and now they stood ready to make their mark. As they prepared for their first real mission, the sense of anticipation and readiness among the humans was palpable. They were no longer just legends from the past. They were warriors of the present, ready to fight for the future of the galaxy. New strategies. The time had come for the humans to step up and make their mark in the ongoing war. With weeks of intense training behind them, they were now ready to put their skills and knowledge into practice. The next phase of their mission involved creating and implementing new strategies to turn the tide of the conflict. The Galactic Council called a meeting with the humans to discuss the new battle plans. The council chamber was filled with a sense of urgency and expectation. Maps and holograms of the galaxy were displayed around the room, showing key battlefronts and enemy positions. Jack, Sarah, and the other humans gathered with the council members and their new alien allies. Dr. Oren, who had become a key advisor to the humans, stood at the front, ready to present the strategies they had developed. "This is where we stand," Dr. Oren began, pointing to a hologram of a heavily fortified enemy base. "The enemy has strong defenses here, and our current tactics aren't working. We need new approaches to break through." The humans listened attentively. They had been studying the enemy's tactics and weaknesses, and they were eager to share their ideas. Sarah, who had become known for her strategic mind, stepped forward. "We've noticed a pattern," Sarah said. "The enemy's defenses are strongest at these points, but there are weaknesses in their supply lines and communication networks. If we can disrupt these, it will weaken their overall position." The council members and alien allies nodded, impressed by Sarah's analysis. Jack, who had been working closely with Sarah, added his insights. "We also need to consider the terrain and environment," Jack said. "The enemy's base is built in a location that is difficult to attack directly. We should use stealth and diversion to our advantage. Small, specialized teams can create distractions and strike at the enemy's weak points." The council members and their allies began to discuss these ideas, debating and refining the strategies. The room buzzed with activity as everyone contributed their thoughts. The humans' fresh perspective and innovative ideas were proving valuable. After several hours of discussion, the new strategies were finalized. The plan involved a multi-pronged approach, disrupting enemy supply lines, using diversionary tactics, and launching precise, coordinated strikes at key targets. The goal was to weaken the enemy's defenses and create an opening for a larger offensive. The humans and their allies prepared for the upcoming operations. The new strategies required careful planning and coordination. Each team had specific roles and tasks to complete. Jack and Sarah were assigned to lead key missions, utilizing their skills and experience to ensure the success of the plan. The first phase of the operation was to target the enemy's supply lines. Small teams of humans and aliens were sent on covert missions to sabotage the enemy's logistics. They used stealth technology and advanced equipment to avoid detection. Their goal was to disrupt the flow of supplies and create shortages in the enemy's forces. The missions were challenging but successful. The enemy was caught off guard by the sudden disruptions, and their supply lines were significantly affected. Reports of shortages and confusion began to trickle in, confirming the success of the sabotage operations. With the enemy's supply lines weakened, the next phase of the plan focused on diversion and distraction. Teams were deployed to create false signals and fake attacks, drawing the enemy's attention away from the real targets. The diversions were designed to confuse and mislead, giving the humans and their allies the advantage. The diversionary tactics worked as planned. The enemy's defenses were stretched thin as they responded to the false threats. This created the opportunity for the main offensive to strike at the heart of the enemy's position. Jack led one of the main assault teams, coordinating the attack with precision. The team moved quickly and quietly, using their knowledge of the enemy's weaknesses to their advantage. They struck at key targets, causing significant damage and disruption. Sarah, overseeing the overall operation, monitored the progress from a command center. She used real-time data and communication with field teams to adjust the strategies as needed. Her quick thinking and ability to adapt were crucial in ensuring the success of the operation. The offensive was intense and demanding. The humans and their allies faced fierce resistance from the enemy, but their new strategies gave them an edge. The coordinated strikes and targeted attacks began to break through the enemy's defenses. As the battles unfolded, the humans' contributions were becoming more apparent. Their fresh strategies and innovative tactics were making a significant impact. The tide of the war was starting to turn, and hope was beginning to return to the galaxy. The Galactic Council and their allies were pleased with the progress. The new strategies had proven effective, and the enemy's strongholds were being pushed back. The humans had demonstrated their value and their ability to adapt and excel in their new roles. In the days following the successful operations, the atmosphere in the facility was one of cautious optimism. The humans and their allies celebrated their victories, but they knew that there was still much work to be done. The war was far from over, and the path to victory was still challenging. Jack and Sarah, along with their teammates, took a moment to reflect on their achievements. They had faced numerous obstacles and challenges, but their efforts had made a real difference. The new strategies had proven their worth, and the humans had shown that they were more than capable of leading the fight. As they prepared for the next phase of the war, the humans were more determined than ever. They knew that their role in the galaxy's future was crucial, and they were ready to continue the fight. With their new strategies and the support of their allies, they were confident that they could achieve victory. The war was entering a new phase, and the humans were at the forefront of the battle. Their contributions and strategies were reshaping the conflict, and the galaxy's future was beginning to look brighter. Turning the war around, the galaxy had been engulfed in conflict for years. The war seemed endless, with battles fought and lost, and hope dwindling. But now, thanks to the humans and their new strategies, things were starting to change. The tide of the war was beginning to turn. The latest operation had been a success. The enemy's supply lines were severely disrupted, their defenses weakened, and their attention scattered. This set the stage for a major push by the Allied forces. Jack, Sarah, and their teams were ready to capitalize on the momentum they had built. The Galactic Council convened once more to plan the next steps. The room was filled with a renewed sense of determination. The holograms of the enemy positions now showed visible gaps and vulnerabilities. The council members and their allies gathered around, discussing the next phase of their strategy. Jack, Sarah, and the other human leaders were at the center of the discussion. They had proven their skills and were now playing a critical role in the planning process. "We've made significant progress," Dr. Oren said, pointing to the hologram of a key enemy base. "But we need to be cautious. We can't afford to let our guard down. The enemy will try to regroup and counterattack." Sarah, who had been analyzing the latest intelligence reports, spoke up. "We should focus on exploiting the gaps we've created. We can launch a series of coordinated strikes to further weaken their defenses and force them into a defensive position." The council agreed with Sarah's plan. They decided to launch a series of offensives aimed at key enemy targets. The goal was to keep the enemy on the back foot and prevent them from regaining their strength. The first strike was planned for a heavily fortified enemy installation. The humans and their allies would use their new tactics to hit the base hard and fast. Jack and his team were assigned to lead the assault, using their knowledge of the enemy's weaknesses to their advantage. The night before the operation, Jack and his team gathered for a final briefing. The atmosphere was tense, but there was also a sense of excitement. They knew that this mission could make a big difference. "We've trained hard for this," Jack said, addressing his team. "We know what we're up against, and we have a plan. Let's execute it with precision and determination." The team nodded, ready for the challenge. As dawn broke, they prepared to launch the attack. The operation was complex and required precise coordination. Each team had a specific role to play, and timing was critical. The assault began with a coordinated strike on the enemy's outer defenses. The humans and their allies used their advanced weaponry and tactics to break through the initial barriers. The enemy was caught off guard by the ferocity and speed of the attack. Jack led his team into the heart of the enemy base, using their knowledge of the terrain and their new strategies to navigate through the complex layout. They encountered heavy resistance but pressed on, focusing on their objectives. Meanwhile, Sarah coordinated from a command center, overseeing the operation and providing real-time updates to the field teams. She adjusted the strategy as needed, ensuring that each team was on track and responding to any unexpected developments. The battle was intense. The enemy fought fiercely, but the coordinated strikes and the element of surprise worked in favor of the Allied forces. Jack's team successfully reached their target and planted explosives to destroy critical infrastructure. As the explosions rocked the base, the enemy's defenses were thrown into chaos. The Allied forces pressed their advantage, exploiting the confusion to push deeper into enemy territory. The tide of the battle was shifting, and the momentum was clearly on their side. The successful strike on the enemy base had a significant impact. The enemy's ability to mount a coordinated defense was severely diminished, and their morale was shaken. Reports from other fronts indicated that the Allied forces were making gains and pushing back the enemy. The news of the victory spread quickly, lifting the spirits of the Galactic Council and their allies. The humans had proven their worth, and their strategies were showing results. The once seemingly hopeless war was now beginning to turn in their favor. In the aftermath of the operation, the humans and their allies regrouped and assessed the results. The damage to the enemy base had been extensive, and the disruption to their operations was significant. The victory was a major boost to the morale of the Allied forces. Jack and Sarah, along with their teams, were hailed as heroes. Their contributions had played a crucial role in turning the war around. The success of the operation demonstrated the effectiveness of the new strategies and the value of the humans' involvement. Despite the victory, the war was far from over. The enemy still controlled significant territory and had not yet been defeated. The Allied forces knew that they needed to maintain their momentum and continue their efforts. The next steps involved consolidating their gains and preparing for further offensives. The humans continued to work closely with their allies, refining their strategies and planning for future operations. They remained focused and determined, knowing that the ultimate goal was still ahead. As the weeks went by, the war continued to shift in favor of the Allies. The humans' contributions were increasingly recognized, and their role in the conflict became more prominent. Their determination and skill had made a real difference, and they were now key players in the fight for the galaxy's future. The once hopeless war was now filled with hope and renewed energy. The humans had shown that they could make a difference, and their success had inspired others to continue the fight. The battle was far from over, but with each victory, the path to a brighter future became clearer. Building trust as the war continued, the tide was clearly turning in favor of the Allied forces. The humans and their new alien allies had made significant progress, but one of the biggest challenges lay ahead, building trust among the diverse groups working together. Without trust, their hard-fought gains could unravel. In the aftermath of their recent victories, the Galactic Council recognized that fostering strong relationships between the humans and the various alien species was crucial. They called for a series of meetings and joint operations to strengthen the bonds of cooperation. Jack, Sarah, and their teams were at the forefront of these efforts. They knew that successful collaboration depended on mutual respect and understanding. Building trust would be as important as winning battles. The first step was a series of joint training exercises designed to improve coordination and communication between the humans and their allies. The exercises were held in a neutral location where teams from different species could work side by side. Sarah took charge of one such exercise. Her task was to lead a mixed team of humans and aliens through a simulated combat scenario. The goal was to work together to achieve a common objective while dealing with unexpected challenges. The training exercise began with a briefing. Sarah explained the mission, a simulated rescue operation in a hostile environment. The teams were divided into smaller units, each with a mix of human and alien members. They were given specific roles and objectives to complete. As the exercise started, it quickly became clear that communication was a challenge. Different species had their own ways of approaching tasks, and understanding each other's methods took effort. There were moments of confusion and frustration, but Sarah remained calm and focused. "Let's take it one step at a time," Sarah said to her team. "We need to listen to each other and work together. Each of us has unique skills that can help us succeed." The team members began to adapt. The humans used their tactical knowledge and problem-solving skills, while the aliens contributed their advanced technology and different perspectives. Slowly but surely, they began to work more smoothly together. Jack observed the exercise from a command post, offering guidance and support where needed. He saw the improvements in teamwork and was encouraged by the progress. The trust between the humans and aliens was growing, even if it was still a work in progress. As the exercise neared its end, the teams managed to complete their objectives successfully. The experience showed that despite their differences, they could accomplish great things when they worked together. The participants left the training with a stronger sense of camaraderie. Building trust was not limited to training exercises. The council also organized social events and joint activities to foster personal connections between the different species. These gatherings allowed team members to get to know each other outside of the stress of combat. One evening, there was a celebratory feast held in honor of their recent successes. The event was designed to bring everyone together in a relaxed setting. Humans and aliens mingled, shared stories, and enjoyed the food and entertainment. Jack and Sarah attended the feast, making an effort to connect with their alien counterparts. Jack spoke with a group of warriors from a species known for their strength and valor. They exchanged stories of their respective cultures and found common ground in their experiences. Sarah, on the other hand, had a conversation with a diplomat from another alien race. They discussed the importance of communication and understanding in both their cultures. The conversation highlighted how their different skills and perspectives could complement each other. The social events helped break down barriers and build personal relationships. Trust grew as people learned more about each other and found commonalities. The informal interactions were as important as the formal meetings and training exercises. As the alliance between the humans and the aliens solidified, they faced new challenges together. Their increased trust allowed for better coordination and cooperation in battle. They were no longer just allies, but a united force working towards a common goal. One critical operation was approaching, and the success of the mission depended on the trust and teamwork developed over the past weeks. The humans and their allies were preparing for a major offensive against a key enemy stronghold. The operation was complex and required precise execution. The plan involved multiple teams working in synchronization. Each team had specific tasks, and their success depended on how well they could rely on each other. The stakes were high, but the improved trust among the allies gave everyone confidence. On the day of the operation, Jack and Sarah took their positions. The teams moved into their designated roles, executing the plan with the precision and coordination they had developed. The trust and understanding built through training and social interactions were evident in their seamless execution. The offensive was a success. The enemy stronghold was taken, and the Allied forces achieved their objectives. The mission demonstrated the power of trust and teamwork. The humans and their allies had proven that they could overcome obstacles and achieve great things when they worked together. In the aftermath of the operation, the sense of unity among the Allied forces was stronger than ever. The trust that had been built through their efforts was now a cornerstone of their collaboration. The diverse groups were no longer just allies, but a cohesive team with a shared purpose. Jack, Sarah, and their teams took a moment to reflect on their journey. They had faced numerous challenges and learned the importance of trust and cooperation. The successes they had achieved were a testament to their hard work and dedication. As they looked ahead, the humans and their allies were more determined than ever to continue their fight for the galaxy's future. The trust they had built would serve as a foundation for their continued efforts and victories. The road ahead was still uncertain, but the progress they had made was undeniable. The alliance between humans and aliens had grown strong, and their combined strength was a formidable force in the war. Together, they were ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. The final battle, the war had reached its climax. The combined forces of humans and their alien allies were prepared for what everyone knew would be the decisive confrontation with the enemy. The final battle was imminent, and the stakes had never been higher. Jack, Sarah, and their teams had been working tirelessly to prepare for this moment. After months of planning, training, and fighting, they had reached the point where victory or defeat would be determined. The Allied forces had managed to push the enemy back to their last stronghold, a heavily fortified planet known as Zorath. The Galactic Council held an urgent meeting to finalize the strategy for the final assault. The council chamber was packed with representatives from all species, and the air was thick with anticipation. Holograms of the enemy stronghold and surrounding areas filled the room, showing the layout and defenses. Sarah took the lead in presenting the final plan. Her voice was steady, but filled with determination. "We've made incredible progress, but the enemy will fight fiercely to defend their last stronghold. Our plan is to launch a coordinated multi-front attack to overwhelm their defenses." Jack, standing by Sarah's side, added, "We'll use our previous tactics, but this time on a larger scale. Diversionary strikes will draw their forces away from key points, allowing us to hit their weak spots with full force. Timing and coordination will be crucial." The council members nodded in agreement. The plan was bold and risky, but it was the best chance they had to end the war. The final battle would require every ounce of their strength and resolve. As the preparations for the assault began, the Allied forces gathered at their staging area. Troops from various species, including humans, were equipped and ready for the confrontation. The atmosphere was charged with a mix of excitement and anxiety. Everyone knew that the outcome of this battle would shape the future of the galaxy. Jack's team was assigned to lead one of the main assault groups. Their mission was to breach the outer defenses of Zorath and create a pathway for the main force to advance. Sarah's role was to oversee the operation from the command center, ensuring that the plan was executed flawlessly. The countdown to the attack began. As the final moments ticked away, Jack and his team prepared for the onslaught. The enemy stronghold loomed ahead, a massive fortress surrounded by defensive installations. It was a formidable sight, but the humans and their allies were undeterred. The assault began with a massive barrage of firepower. Ships and artillery from the Allied forces pounded the enemy defenses, creating openings in their fortifications. The ground forces, including Jack's team, moved in to exploit the breaches. Jack and his team fought their way through the outer defenses, using their training and experience to overcome the obstacles. They encountered heavy resistance, but their determination and coordination allowed them to press forward. Explosions and gunfire filled the air as the battle raged on. Sarah, from the command center, monitored the progress closely. She received updates from field teams and made real-time adjustments to the strategy. The coordination between the various forces was critical to ensuring that the plan was executed as intended. The Allied forces pushed deeper into the enemy stronghold. The battle was intense, with both sides fighting fiercely. The enemy, desperate to defend their last stronghold, launched counterattacks and used every resource at their disposal. Despite the enemy's efforts, the combined strength of the humans and their allies began to show results. The coordinated strikes and relentless pressure started to take a toll on the enemy's defenses. Reports came in that key positions within the stronghold were being successfully taken. Jack and his team reached their objective, a crucial control center within the stronghold. The control center was heavily guarded, but the team fought their way through and secured the area. Their success opened a critical pathway for the main force to advance. With the control center under Allied control, the